everyone! For this lesson, we'll be reading a book called The Cambodian Dancer, Sophany's Gift of Hope, and we'll also be answering some discussion questions. And so, before we get into the book, a little bit of information about it is that it's actually based on a true story of the life of a dancer named Sophany Bay, and she's a dancer and teacher, and it tells the story of her life as a dancer before, during, and after this period called the Khmer Rouge, which took place in the 1970s, and this was a genocide. So we'll start reading the book, and as we go along, feel free to pause as needed to take a breath or reflect and process anything that you hear and see in this book. Okay, so The Cambodian Dancer, Sophany's Gift of Hope by Darren Wright and illustrated by Christy Hale. There are also some Khmer translations done by Vocab Pen, and now with that being said, let's get right into the book. So page 2. Sophany was a dancer in Cambodia. She learned the ancient ways of dancing handed down from generation to generation. And so in this page, you can see that they're dancing at the temple. There are two monks in the background, and you can also see far away that it looks like they're at Angkor Wat, and the girls are wearing their practice clothing, which you'll see many times in this book. So the pants that they're wearing is called gaban, and this is like basically a long piece of fabric that's tied around your waist to form into pants. She learned how to move her hands and arms. She learned how to look like the stone reliefs on the walls of the temples. So stone reliefs are a type of sculpture that is attached to a solid background, and so these reliefs are made of stone. The sculpture is made of stone, and they are attached to a stone wall. And so you can see the same technique being used at Angkor Wat, where sculptures of the dancers are 3D and they are attached to a stone wall. You can also see this technique being used in this image of the book. So it's supposed to be as if the art is actually coming out from the wall, and it's supposed to be 3D. And so you can see how her fingers are bent backwards, and how she's focusing and tilting her head in certain ways for certain gestures. The next page, the dance gave her energy. So in this one, she's smiling. She seems very happy. When Sophany grew up, she taught the dance to little girls. And in this one, you can see how the dancers are in rows, and she's adjusting their body to make sure it's in the right position, and they're dancing on hard floor. She taught them how to move their hands. She taught them where to put their feet. She even taught them how to tilt their heads. The dance gave the little girls energy too. Sophany was one of the best dancers. She danced for huge crowds of people. She even danced before the king of Cambodia. But then something terrible happened. Bad men took over the land. They were called the Khmer Rouge. They destroyed the land, its people. They took away Sophany's dance and even destroyed the reliefs on the walls of the temples. And so here you can see that the carvings are actually scared, and you can see shadows of people holding weapons. Many of the dancers disappeared. Those who were left behind became as shadow puppets, secret and saddened. The happiness of the dance was taken from them. The energy of the dance was gone. Lost and alone, Sophany was left with nothing but her shadow. The Khmer Rouge had turned Cambodia into a shadow land. Sophany was forced to move far away. Many years later, on the other side of the world, Sophany tried to help heal the wounds left by the Khmer Rouge. Even though she had escaped to a free land, she felt as if she were still a shadow. When she saw that the Cambodian children growing up in America did not know the dance of her lost home, she was sad. It was as if these children were growing up as shadows too. And so at this point, she had moved to America, as we just read, and she actually moved to California. So she remembered the dance that was forced into hiding. She remembered how to move her hands and arms. She remembered how to look like the stone reliefs on the walls of the temples. Dancing again made her feel happy and strong. The energy of the dance shone light onto the shadows. So even though the Khmer tried to wipe out the people and the dance and the art, she realized that it was still inside of her because she learned it, and they could not take away the energy that she still had within her. Sophany created a school to teach the dance to the next generation of Cambodian girls. She taught them how to move their hands. She taught them where to put their feet. She even taught them how to tilt their heads. Just like we read in the previous page, she started teaching again in the same way, just like in Cambodia. The dance gave the girls energy. The dance gave Sophany energy too. Watching the girls, Sophany smiled. Now the shadows are gone. Now there is dance again. And that concludes the book. So now that we finished reading the book, some questions that I would like you to consider are: 1. How can culture and dance be healing? So we read a little bit about this in this book through her example, and so try to answer this question through both what we just read and also maybe like how can culture and dance be healing for you yourself. And secondly, why is culture and art important to a community? And so in this book we read that it can give light to people and shine light on our shadows. And then think about why is it important to a community given that context, and then try applying it to yourself as well in your own culture and art. And so and finally, another thing is how she's taught in Cambodia, and then later she started teaching in America as well. And think about any differences or any challenges that she might have starting to teach again, but instead in a different country. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed, and see you at the next lesson.